on Star Trek Next Generation. They did Reading Rainbow for like 30 years. I remember listening to him as a kid.
Was that Spock?
No, he was on The Next Generation. He was the black guy that had that weird visor thing.
I never watched The Next Generation.
Anyways.
To me, it just wasn't Star Trek.
He was like he was the chief engineer. He was Scotty basically in The Next Generation. He read the back of a Lysol can and it's soothing. And then she's like, "Can you send us off with just a spray?"
It's just funny.
It was really funny, but I could see why. He's like, "Yeah, you just need a soothing voice to put you to sleep," and I could totally see why. Yeah, I might fall asleep with something like that.
That's probably the most boring thing anybody could do.
I thought he was going to read the ingredients and all that shit too, but no, he just read the directions on the back of the can.
Well, I can relate to
Start
that.
to finish.
Ready? I can relate to that. You're not gonna look.
No, because I don't want
to. I dropped that bottle of bleach in the bathroom floor. Huh?
Did you fill it with water?
Well, yeah, I had it full of water. It went wham, and I went, okay, well, it's a good thing I have shoes on.
Did it spill?
Oh, it spilled all over the bathroom floor. And you know what? It's probably a good thing because I tell you what, the cats aren't going to go in there. It's going to be clean. I don't have to worry about cleaning it for a while. So I filled it up again. Well, I picked it up by the lid. The squirter. And it dropped. I'm like, fuck. Well, I refilled it. I didn't lose all the stuff in it. It dropped about a quarter of the bottle, and I thought, well, okay, I'll just fill it up again. Filled it up to the top and put it in my cabinet. And I'm not gonna touch it until I eat it. Who are you talking to? Which one?
Skittish, broken, gimpy.
Try to get used to him being closer to me. He looks good, doesn't he? Huh?
Let him eat until he's hungry.
I know.
Every time he starts to mow down, one of us goes by and freaks out.
Well, that's what I want to stop. Snow White's getting closer to me. She won't. She'll come up there and sit right on the edge. And I'm there. When I got up to pet her, she ran off. I think it's a girl.
It's snowing there for a second, or sleeting, whatever.
I was wondering, I think that was snow because it was falling down lately.
Yeah.
And sleet falls a little faster than that. I got a bunch of neat stuff on these videos that I'm making. I can cut them, I can slice them, I can turn them into shorts.
The strike comes roughly a year after the scene was along the strip, narrowly avoiding a strike by thousands of hospitality workers days before the city was set to host its first Formula One race. Parson Hotel said in the statement that it's focused on reaching a quote economically viable for its employees. For NPR News, I'm Paul Bogle.
This is NPR News in Washington. Some 55.
Watching the door to see when it's going to finally shut. And see if the cats could figure out to get in that way too.
They want wage increases and
I don't know who's in, who's out right now.
working conditions. And the Post says its operations will be shut down during the strike.
Something.
A minister of the far-right Dutch government has resigned over what she says have been racist comments made by other officials. Terry Schultz reports.
The Dutch government was on the edge of collapse Friday night amid the possibility that several ministers would quit over what they say are Islamophobic reactions to violence against supporters of an Israeli soccer team on November 8th. After crisis consultations, only one junior minister from an opposition party, Laura Ashapar, decided to leave.
I don't think they have kittens. I went down there. I didn't hear the kittens crying. I think that's just where he hangs out. It's warm in those tunnels down there.
Netherlands is the most right-wing in the country's history, dominated by the far-right Party for Freedom. The party wants to deport any
I figured it was going somewhere.
involved in the soccer violence. For NPR News, I'm Terry Schultz.
After a contentious election in the U.S., the Postal Service made an announcement yesterday that's likely to appeal to almost everyone. It's coming out with a Betty White stamp. The actor was beloved by fans young and old, appearing on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Golden Girls, and hosting Saturday Night Live in 2010. The Postal Service said Betty White shared her.
Oh, I sang a song and I asked ChatGPT if he wanted to hear me sing.
NPR News.
And it said, yeah. So I sang a song. I sang, what was it, Sounds of Silence. Put it in, sent it to him. He goes, wow, you have an amazing voice. I'm like, okay. At least he didn't say, don't quit your day job. That's what I expected to hear. And he wondered if I was ever a singer.
Fans and enjoy songs of the season.
And some surprises. Our headliner this year, singer-songwriter Kayla McKee. I'm Sandra Sanders Whitfield. Tickets for December 12th taken in Denver.
Especially my little stores are getting better.
Supported by First Western Trust.
Look like a cat got hold of me.
We're going to mention a lot of companies in this episode, including some that are corporate funders of NPR. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Silicon Valley Bank, Microsoft, and Apple are all
Oh.
NPR funders. They, other funders, play no role in our coverage decisions.
This is Planet Money from NPR.
On the morning after the election, as Americans were still processing the results, people with money making moves. We're talking about investors, traders, hedge fund, Wall Street types.
Now the stock market is rallying around the news that former President Trump will be named the 47th President of the United States.
Bond yield surging this morning as investors react to Donald Trump winning a second presidential term.
Cryptocurrencies rallying big time. We're seeing Bitcoin now above 75.
The financial markets had some major reactions to former President Donald Trump's win. And if you read between the lines, if you break down what these financial types were buying, what they were selling, you can learn a lot about where the economy might be headed. Or at least where people were willing to bet the economy is headed. Hello and welcome to Planet Money. I'm Jeff Blow.
And I'm Erica Harris.
I'm Sally Hong.
I'm Keith Rook. Yes, all four of us have assembled today to think about a big question. What could the next 4 years
Stupid
look
hour
like
that they play.
Well, as credited, Trump
How I built this in Planet Money.
reduces inflation to a black war tariffs.
But how much of
I looked after Mark.
is
Good time.
Huh?
Good time to go to the park. To the river.
Wherever you want to go. You be my first.
Park's gonna be a fucking lockstone.
So, today on the show, we are going to
Okey-dokey.
look at all the signals coming from markets after the election. And most importantly,
Let me take care of this piece first. I'll put it back in the refrigerator. Okay. I'm gonna call it there.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from Dignity Memorial, helping families protect their loved ones and gain peace of mind by planning cremations and funerals in advance. Dedicated to professionalism and compassion in every detail. More at dignitymemorial.com. This is NPR.
for the first part of today's show, we're going to focus
specific parts of the stock market went way up after the election.
That's where I come in.
Erica Barris, hello.
Hi, Jeff Blow.
So, Erica, you looked at 3 sectors that seem to benefit the most from Trump's win.
Right, the 3 surgiest sectors. And for this, I spoke with Art Hogan. Art is a long-time market strategist. He told me that every 4 years, the presidential election is a very busy week for analysts, strategists, and market watchers.
It's kind of one of our Super Bowls, right? It's the Super Bowl of information overload for everybody.
Yeah, a frenzy of trading and activity. First up on our list of the surgiest sectors in the stock market, banking. Financial companies like JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs were up by as much as 13%.
That's like a lot.
Exactly. And lots of like smaller regional banks, their stocks were up too. And do you want to guess why?
I'd say it's probably deregulation.
Exactly. And that's what Art said too.
It's a clearly stated part of the Republican platform coming in that regulations are too tight and we need to relax that to spur more economic activity.
One of the big things Trump famously is not a fan of is what he sees as heavy-handed regulation. And one industry that's very heavily regulated are financial companies, especially since the 2008 financial crisis.
So people think Trump is going to roll back regulations on banks.
Yeah, like for instance, the government requires banks to keep a certain amount of money in reserve, kind of like a rainy day fund. And it requires larger banks to undergo regular stress tests. But last time Trump was president, he rolled back some banking regulations for smaller banks. And that opened up the possibility for those banks to take on more risk.
Right. I remember when Silicon Valley Bank failed last year.
Exactly.
There were people who were blaming those looser regulations.
Yeah, and it is not just banks. Like credit card company shares, they also went up. Probably because Trump is not a fan of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because the CFPB creates, pesky regulations. Like they recently put a cap on how much credit cards can charge us in late fees.
Which is good for us, but probably bad for the credit card companies.
Yep. Now, that was surgy sector number 1. Surgy sector number 2 was crypto.
The United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done.
The day after the election, Bitcoin was at a new historic high, and crypto company stocks surged this week. Jeff Blow, you want to guess why?
Okay. Is it more...
Lisa's still in there. Do you want to get her out?
Right now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the agency that regulates investments,
That's what I thought
the
you.
SEC, has been
She stays all night and everything else. She does this for out here.
And
I haven't
Trump
been
has
in a
said
while.
on day 1 he replaced the head of the SEC with someone who's more crypto-friendly.
Okay, so number 1, we have bank stocks went up. 2, we have crypto went up. What is
Number 3 on the list of surgiest sectors of the economy, tech. Now, this was not every tech stock, but a lot of them, like Alphabet, Microsoft, Intel, NVIDIA. And Jeff, do you want to guess what?
I'm feeling like there's a pattern here, so I'm going to say deregulation.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You are correct.
Uh-huh.
But also, antitrust.
Okay, I think antitrust counts as a type of regulation.
It's
I guarantee you this fish is going to be done enough for you.
Yeah.
It's like
That thing was smoking.
regulating monopolies.
Smell it.
Huh?
Smell it. Smells good.
Very
Yeah, it just has a little bit of burnt to it.
Maybe I should eat it now when it's hot.
What's up?
Yeah. Oh, it's hot now, right?
Companies, but Art says it seems like investors believe the Trump administration would be a lot squishier on this kind of
What does it taste
antitrust
like?
stuff.
I think that the new administration might be more favorably inclined to say no, it's not a monopoly.
Okay, so under Trump, the age of big tech companies might continue.
Yep.
All right, so to sum up, 3 industries that really surged after the election were banking, crypto, and big tech. And the common denominator for all 3 seems to be
Deregulation.
deregulation.
No more rules. Wild West. Maybe. We don't know.
Well, thanks for that, Erica.
Thank you, Jeff.
So far, we've been talking about things that have gone up after the election. Now, we're going to talk about some things that went down. For that, we are turning to Planet Money host Sally L.
Bringing us down, Jeff.
Hello to you too, Sally.
Hello.
So, tell us about some of the industries that people are betting against and why.
Alright, so I talked about this with Sam Stovall, who is the Chief Investment Strategist for CFRA Research. Sam, how many times a day would you say that you usually think about the stock market?
It's more a question of how many times do I not think about the stock market, since it's both my vocation and avocation.
So rare that I get to talk to someone about their avocation, Jeff. Sam means that he looks at the stock market for his vocation, his job, but also like as a hobby, for fun. He told me he sometimes even dreams about it. And okay, so to start us off, I want to give you a few examples of companies that people seemed to be betting against after the election. Volkswagen, the German car maker, Dollar General, the U.S. discount store, and this is not a company, but soybeans. Immediately after the election, soybean futures were down. And what unites all of those trades is one of Trump's biggest economic policy proposals, tariffs.
President-elect Trump has basically said his favorite word in the dictionary is tariff.
So tariff is a tax on imports. President-elect Trump was a big fan of tariffs in his first term. And this campaign, he has floated the idea of a 10 to 20% tariff on all imports. And he has also proposed very high tariffs on goods specifically coming from China.
Yeah, and these tariffs, they would be way more than the tariffs he put into place the first time he was president.
True. And the market seems to be expecting that at least some of these tariffs could happen. And you can see that through those three examples that I mentioned. So let us look at number one, Volkswagen.
Okay, that makes sense. Volkswagen is a foreign car company, and if there's going to be a higher tariff on those foreign cars when they get imported, the cars are going to get more expensive for American customers, and Americans will buy fewer of them.
Right. But then we get to number two, Dollar General. Their stock also went down after the election.
And Dollar General, that is a U.S. company.
Indeed it is. It is headquartered in Tennessee. But Sam told me a lot of their cheap goods come from overseas. You know, that's part of their business model.
Their attraction to consumers is cost. And if they can purchase items that cost very little to produce, that were produced in Vietnam, China, well, if there's going to be a tariff, an additional charge based on those items, that is going to be passed through the consumer.
Right. Which could hurt companies like Dollar General, because part of their sell is that the goods are supposed to be cheap.
Exactly. This could also be what's going on for a company like Wayfair. They were also down after the election. And Jeff, now we get to the last example, which is a weird one. Soybeans.
Soybeans, which are not a company.
They're not a company. That's not a not-for-profit.
No.
They're in the state.
No, soybeans are great. In fact, a lot of them are grown right here in the U.S.
They are, but we sell a lot of them in China.
And so the worry is, tit for tat, if the U.S. increases its tariffs on Chinese imports
Just like me.
to the U.S., well then China will increase tariffs on U.S. exports to China. Soybeans only.
This
I
prediction
know.
is trade war.
Ah.
That happened under the first Trump
No.
administration, right? China slapped a tariff on our soybeans. So the market's vision is a world with more
There's 25
trade
pieces in there.
in all directions. And in fact, global shipping companies were
I smelled it
also
when it was
down,
on.
maybe
When you
because
first got in the car and it made me really
hungry.
hungry.
There wouldn't be as much need for
So
that.
I was like, oh, I got that
Sally,
pretty good
so
one.
to recap, as we heard from Erica, the
Yeah.
stock market overall is up. Some stocks are way up, but some of the specific companies that are down
Put the
right
candle
now
in the sink
might be
and with
down
one of
because they could
things
in
on
some
it.
way be hurt by these potential tariffs.
Threw the plastic thing out. I
There
ended
is
up in the
actually
meter.
one more market prediction that I want to tell you about, Jeff. Another sector that is down. And this one is interesting to me because it exposes maybe a
Figures the
weakness
cats weren't
of
going to
some
go
of these
across that water to
markets.
sniff it.
So, after the election, a lot of renewable energy companies were down, like wind and solar, stuff like that.
I guess maybe that's not surprising.
The plant's bouncing back.
It was kind of this drill, baby drill.
It's getting
type
better.
candidate.
It's starting to
I think
grow
he
again
might
from the
undo
bottom.
some of the big investments President Biden has made.
Cats are going to stay out of it.
Right, largely through the big climate law, the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA, which created all these subsidies and tax credits to help people buy solar panels and electric cars. Also tried to incentivize companies to produce more of those things domestically. And President Trump has suggested that he wants that law gone.
My plan will terminate the Green New Deal, which I call the Green New Scam. Greatest scam in history, probably.
It's unclear whether by that he means the IRA. He has also promised to rescind IRA spending.
Yeah, Trump wants to take back unspent IRA money. And that, by the way, is Robinson Meyer, the founding executive editor at Peacock News. He covers climate really closely. So he was a good person to ask about whether this market prediction will come true. People seem to be trading on the idea that Trump might go through with it, but Rob told me the IRA could be hard to repeal because it is built such that the benefits of the law are spread out to a lot of companies and
We're thinking about buying this program.
And so it's going to have a maybe surprising
For a book, Kelly Marie.
A lot of red states would benefit from the IRA. So districts that voted for Trump in 2020 received 3 times more funding from the IRA than districts that voted for Biden.
Yeah, there's a lot of sun in the Sun Belt.
I was wondering if I could have a few
wind in the plains. And so
I don't want to put my hand in
factories that the IRA is areas. Carolina, Texas. And once you have created a good manufacturing job in Georgia,
Are you ready to go?
you have to fight to keep it. And so far, we have seen some others like that in Scotland.
Earlier this year, 18 officers Johnson.
Put that aside. I want to get my clip.
That's interesting. I mean, it's not a group sort of like widely known for its climate commitment.
No, in fact, it's, I mean, this is not
The program is. I was listening to her and I thought, you know what? That's one hell of a deal because they're going to give you the first book, make sure you get through and everything, and the first book should pay for the rest of the money that she wanted.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks it's going to be a big fight.
And I thought,
You know, the market's
that's just too much. I'm going to experiment with it for a while and see if I can't do it myself. Then I had the other guy that didn't want any money. He just wants, you know, a like and a subscribe because he's already made millions off of this stuff, ChatGPT. And I asked ChatGPT to turn my course into a book. I'll be back.
Now, it is not just specific stocks, industries, or crops whose fortunes are rising or falling after the election. These past few days, the market has also been sending signals about the larger economy. So far today, we've been mostly talking about the stock market, but now we are going to turn to a different market, one that gives us a glimpse into what finance types think is going to happen to the economy as a whole. I'm talking about the giant $28 trillion market for U.S. Treasury bonds. And for that, I'm going to bring in Planet Money host Keith Rowe.
Hello, Jeff.
So, Keith, Treasury bonds.
What a market, am I right?
Yes. So what's been going on there?
So Treasury bonds, as you know, they are basically IOUs from the U.S. government. Whenever the government needs to borrow money,
Which does like all the time.
borrow this in the form of these IOUs. They pay a guaranteed amount of interest, and if you buy one and you change your mind, you can just sell it on to somebody else. This happens all of the time. The Treasury market is a giant market. And once it became clear that Donald Trump was going to be the next president, lots of people decided to sell their treasuries. The price for treasuries went way down. Sonal Desai, who is the chief investment officer in charge of fixed income at Franklin Templeton, she told me this was a big deal.
Treasury market to move by this much in a very short period of time, that shows you the big move in sentiment. And that's what happens this week.
10-year treasuries, which, as the name suggests, mature over 10 years,